At first, I was going to make this a top 20 list, but while working on it, there are just so many songs from this franchise that I want to talk about. So instead, I'm going to talk about 20 in no particular order because I plan on making more of these in the future. This list will include the main series games as well as the spin-off games. There are a lot of spin-off games that I need to play or replay because it has been years, so don't expect too many spin-off songs in this video. But there will be more representation for spin-off games in the future videos. And I'd like to incorporate those of you who watch my videos. So list a song you love from Pokemon in the comments, and if it's one that I love too, I'll mention your comment in the next Pokemon songs video. With that being said, let's get to number 1. They changed Ice Path quite a bit when the Heart Gold Soul Silver remix came out, but both still have a very atmospheric sound. If I had to pick one I like more, I'd have to go with the original. I like the heavier sound and slower tempo the song has. It really makes you feel like you're exploring a deep, dark cave. But the remake is really good too. Speaking of atmosphere, this one oozes it. It also sounds very mysterious, giving off a feeling of uncertainty. Like there's something waiting at the end of the tunnel, which there is in Pokemon Sun and Moon, that being Necrozma. The cave drippings and echoes in the song also add to the atmosphere. I really like how this song is only used for one cave in the game, rather than being put in every single cave in Sun and Moon. That gives it more of an identity. I also really like the fast piano part, it sounds really good. Pokken Tournament was a game that I was really excited for back in the day. I remember seeing all these teasers and screenshots and eventually gameplay, and I was so hyped for it. When it came out, it was fine, but pretty forgettable, and I never put a lot of time into it. I think it's because it's a hybrid of a 3D and 2D fighting game, which turns me off a little bit. I'd rather they pick one or the other, preferably 2D. But one thing that sticks out about it is the menu music. I only remember one other song from the game, and that's the Magikarp Festival, which is fine, but the menu music, or world map as it's called, is so nice to listen to. It doesn't really sound like a fighting game menu theme. In fact, I think it sounds a lot like a Wii Sports menu theme, but I still really like the melody. I know this spot is being reserved for 2 different songs, but it's my video, so I can do what I want. I like them both for very similar reasons, and I often get them confused with each other, like which town has what song, for instance. But I love how relaxing both of them sound. I love the instrumentation in both as well. It's a shame they were put in forgettable areas in X and Y, or the fact that they were put in X and Y at all, since those games aren't the most memorable in the series. This is a song that was not in the original Gold and Silver games, but was created for a new area in Heart Gold Soul Silver. And what an amazing addition. This song fits so well in this area with the caves and waterfalls and such. A really soothing and memorable song. They also made a Game Boy version for the song if you obtained the GB Sounds item in Heart Gold Soul Silver, which is great as well. This is probably my favorite battle theme out of all of the Pokemon games. both the original and remakes, which there have been many remakes of this song. But if I had to pick a favorite version of the Kanto Gym Leader theme, I'd have to go with the Fire Red Leaf Green version. This song is so thrilling, and it really sounds like you're taking on a boss. I will also say the anime version of this song is also incredibly good. Route 209 is a song universally loved by Pokemon fans, and I am 100% with them. This is the song that comes to mind whenever I think of the Sinnoh games, and something nice about it is that it was reserved for one route, which doesn't make it feel old and tired throughout the game. It's also on a somewhat important route. It's where you find Spirit Tomb, has the Lost Tower, and it's next to the town with a daycare, so you can ride your bike around 209 while hatching eggs. It's also a very nostalgic song, and I absolutely love the night version too, as well as the Brawl version of the song. That is so good, I love it. I love the Johto soundtrack a lot, but something about these classic songs being put with the GBA sound fonts makes them sound better than ever. Sevi Islands is the Lake of Rage theme, which is incredible no matter what game it's in. Four and 5 Islands is Azalea Town, which sounds so good with this sound font. And 6 and 7 Islands is Violet Town, which is a song I think is pretty good in all the other games, but here it sounds amazing. My favorite out of all of them is the Lake of Rage remix. It just sounds so triumphant. I'm really glad they put it in Fire Leaf Green. But something that's a shame is that there are files of the legendary Beast music in Gen 3, but they were not used. That sucks because those sound really good too, and would have fit whenever you encounter Entei, Raikou, or Suicune at the end of Fire Leaf Green. The game corner music in every game has always either been decent, like Kanto and Johto, or not that amazing, like the Hoenn version. With the exception of Gen 4, which had a killer game corner theme. This song is so upbeat and catchy and sounds more like a rave party than a casino. But what is weird is that I didn't like this song as a kid, but now I can't get enough of it. Sad thing is, I don't see this theme being remade for the inevitable Diamond and Pearl remakes, which is a real shame. But who knows, maybe they'll put the theme in a different location in Sinnoh. This is the first Pokemon game I ever played, so there is a ton of nostalgia tied to this one. I've played it a handful of times over the years, but the one thing that sticks out so much is the music. Literally every song in this game is top notch. And if you haven't played this game, go get it now. But my favorite song in the game is the normal battle theme. It is mostly because of nostalgia, I'll admit, but it's still a banger. Some of the instrumentation makes it feel very majestic in a way. It's hard to explain, but I love it. I'm lumping together routes 119 and 120 from Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Both of them sound very adventurous, and I always felt Route 120 was a continuation of Route 119's song. And I feel that both of these songs really represent Hoenn. And my favorite moment of mine in these games is the rain in Route 119, and how it goes away in 120. But you still see puddles and even the sun rising in the reflection of the water. It's a really neat touch. The ORAS versions are really good too, but I much prefer the originals. Speaking of adventurous, I feel Route 210 feels that way too. And the sound really fits the foggy weather and waterfalls with mountainous terrain, but it also plays in a couple of other routes too, and I feel it fits those areas as well. But I have always associated it with Route 210. Personally, I prefer this song over 209, and I find it to be more nostalgic too. I personally feel this song gets overlooked. This song sounds nothing like the rest of Johto, and it's so beautiful, both the remake and the original. The piano is one of my favorite instruments, and it's used really well here. This song makes me feel like I'm in a park that I'd want to take a stroll through. For me, the Heart Gold Soul Silver version is more nostalgic, but I think I prefer the original more. It's a toss-up though. Sometimes I prefer Heart Gold Soul Silver's version, and sometimes I prefer Gold, Silver, and Crystal's version. Point is, it's an amazing song. This is such a soothing song and plays at such a unique and identifiable point in the game. It really fits the aesthetic of the volcanic ash falling from the sky. It also sounds different because it is one of the few routes in Hoenn that doesn't have trumpets blaring. I personally found the ORAS soundtrack to be a bit disappointing, but the Route 113 version in that game holds up and is in the same league as the original in my opinion. What an interesting song. This song sounds nothing like Pokemon. In fact, my friend told me it sounded like something from a Final Fantasy game, and I think that is much more accurate. But I still love it. It's so upbeat and fast-paced, and I love that flute solo. It's quite the contrast from the Ancient Pony Path, which is the song that plays outside of the canyon. But this is definitely my favorite song to come out of Sun and Moon, which had some pretty good music overall. Coming from one of the most forgettable points of a Pokemon game, the power plant from X and Y. This song is so relaxing and so soothing. I absolutely love the instrumentation and background track. It's a travesty that this song was delegated to such a forgettable part of a forgettable game. It definitely deserves better. I love all of the credit themes, but this one is definitely my favorite. Unlike most others, this one sounds like the end of an adventure with many more to come. Most other credit themes from Pokemon sound very somber and are like reflections of the adventure you had. It fits well because Black and White got a direct sequel, Black 2 and White 2. I only wanted one credits theme from Pokemon per video, so of course I'm going to go over my favorite first. One of the most moving and emotional songs in the Pokemon games. It perfectly captures the feeling of exploring an ancient monument that has been forgotten through time. It sounds very ancient, and that piano is so good. This was also remixed in Smash 4 during the Reshiram and Zekrom battle theme, and it sounds really good in that version too. This slot is reserved for the Abandoned Ship from Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and Southern Island from Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Both are the same song, they just sound very different. Abandoned Ship makes you feel very isolated, in the middle of the sea on an abandoned ship. It perfectly captures that, while Southern Island sounds very elusive and mysterious, almost like a dream or a mirage. Abandoned Ship is used for a side quest in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, so it's possible that not all players have heard it. Southern Island plays when you encounter Latios and Latias, so everyone who has played that game has heard this song. The Abandoned Ship song was also remade for ORAS, now called C. Mauville, and that version is okay, but I much prefer the original along with its remix of Southern Island and ORAS. I know I said this list is in no particular order, but I saved this one for the end because this is my favorite song in Pokemon. It screams atmosphere, and that's something I love in a song. You feel so alone and isolated, and it feels like you're climbing a snowy mountain, and it's full of tough Pokemon. It perfectly captures what Mount Coronet is in the games. It's so good. It's also kind of creepy too. And I love that bass. So good. I can't wait for the Diamond and Pearl remakes for a lot of reasons, but this song is going to sound so incredible, I just know it. Thanks for watching the video. Expect more of these Pokemon music videos in the future because I have many more songs that I want to talk about. And remember to leave some of your favorite Pokemon music in the comments below. And maybe your comment will show up in a future video if I talk about your favorite song. Thanks again for watching and see you next time.